ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਦੋਸਤੋ ਬਹੁਤ ਟਾਈਮ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਮਿਲਿਆ ਨੂੰ ਪਰ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੀ ਆ ਕਰੋਨਾ ਕਰਕੇ ਮਾਹੌਲ ਠੀਕ ਨਹੀਂ ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਕੀ ਭੰਗੜਾ ਮਿਕਸ ਤੇ ਪੇਸ਼ ਕਰਨ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਫੁੱਲ ਇੰਜੋਇਮੈਂਟ ਕਰਿਓ ਕਰੋ ਬੋਲ ਰਿਹਾ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਆਪਣਾ ਯਾਰ ਮਿੱਤਰ ਗਰਜ ਸਿੰਘ
ਤੈਨੂੰ ਚੁਣਿਆ ਕੈਸ ਮਾਰ ਲੈ ਮਾਰੀ ਤਾਨੀ ਚੁਐਸ ਕੁੜੇ ਦਬ ਕੇ ਮਾਰਦੀ ਫਿਰੇ ਰੋਡ ਤੇ ਕਾਲੀ ਕੈਡੀ ਲੈਕ ਕੁੜੇ ਉਹ ਖੂਨ ਚ ਪੂਰੀ ਹੀਟਿੰਗ ਜੱਟ ਦੇ ਮਾਈਂਡ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਾ ਚੀਟਿੰਗ ਜੱਟ ਦੇ ਇੱਕ ਕੋਕਾ ਕੜਵਾ ਤੂੰ ਨੱਕ ਨੂੰ ਬਾਕੀ ਕੋਕੇ ਜੜ ਦੂੰਗਾ ਉਹ 1 by 1 ਤੂੰ 10 ਡਮਾਂਡਾ ਚੋਪਰ ਪੂਰੀਆਂ ਕਰ ਦੂੰਗਾ ਉਹ ਚੱਟੀਆਂ ਖੁੱਲ ਕੇ 10 ਡਮਾਂਡਾ ਚੋਪਰ ਪੂਰੀਆਂ ਕਰ ਦੂੰਗਾ
Start her OnlyFans. Big B and that B stand for bands. If you wanna see some real ass, baby, here's your chance.
Elle a pas aimé qui va ça. J'entends des bails à trop son main. À ce qui paraît, je te cours après. Mais ça va pas, mais t'es taré. Oh, dja dja. Y'a pas moyen, dja dja. J'suis pas ta cata, dja dja. Genre, en katana, baby, tu t'aides ça.
थोड़ी तू से बीट लगे थोड़ी नमकीन नी
Y'a pas moyen, dja dja.
सारियां च वेखी ना कोई तेरी दी हसीन नी
Katana, baby, tu t'aides ça.
थोड़ी तू से बीट लगे थोड़ी नमकीन नी सारियां च वेखी ना कोई थोड़ी तू से बीट लगे ਕੰਡੇ ਵੀ ਚ ਲਵੇਂਗੀ ਆਈ ਨੇ ਸੱਤ ਨਾ ਮਿਲ ਯਾਰਾ ਵੇ ਜੋ ਅੱਖ ਮਾਰ ਕੇ ਖਰੀਦ ਲਵੇਂਗੀ ਆਈ ਨੇ ਸੱਤ ਨਾ ਮਿਲ ਯਾਰਾ ਵੇ ਜੋ ਅੱਖ ਮਾਰ ਕੇ ਖਰੀਦ ਲਵੇਂਗੀ Roxanne, all she wanna do is party all night. Goddamn, Roxanne, never gonna love me, but it's alright.
ਪਹਿਲੀ ਮੁਲਾਕਾਤ ਵਿੱਚ ਆ ਗਈ ਤੂੰ ਬਾਜ਼ਾਰ ਤਾਂ ਦੂਜੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੁੜ ਗਈ ਤੂੰ ਕਰਕੇ ਇਕਰਾਰ
Roxanne, Roxanne, all she wanna do is party all night.
ਪਹਿਲੀ ਮੁਲਾਕਾਤ ਵਿੱਚ ਆ ਗਈ ਤੂੰ ਬਾਜ਼ਾਰ ਤਾਂ ਦੂਜੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੁੜ ਗਈ ਤੂੰ ਕਰਕੇ ਇਕਰਾਰ ਤਾਂ ਬੀਜੀ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਲੱਗੀਆਂ ਨਾ ਗਈਆਂ ਸੱਤ ਚੱਲੀਆਂ ਜੱਟ ਨੇ ਕਰਾਈਆਂ ਫਿਰ ਪੂਰੀਆਂ ਤਸੱਲੀਆਂ ਅੱਜ ਤੋਂ ਹੀ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕੁੜੀ ਕਰਦੀ ਕਵੱਲੀਆਂ ਉਹ ਜੱਟ ਨੇ ਕਰਾਈਆਂ ਫਿਰ ਪੂਰੀਆਂ ਤਸੱਲੀਆਂ
Clarity.
You're listening to the one and only Pablo Mix.
ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਦੀ ਇਹਦੇ ਰੰਗ ਬੜੇ ਇਹਦੇ ਢੰਗ ਬੜੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਨਾਮ ਖੁਮਾਰੀ ਐ ਤੇ ਕਈ ਪੀਂਦੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਭੰਗ ਬੜੇ ਕਈ ਦਾਵਾ ਕਰਦੇ ਯਾਰੀ ਦਾ ਫੋਕੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਸਰਦਾਰੀ ਦਾ ਲੋਨ ਤੇ ਗੱਡੀਆਂ ਪੈਲੀ ਗਹਿਣੇ ਅੰਦਰੋਂ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੰਗ ਬੜੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਬੱਚਾ ਬੱਚਾ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਐ ਕੋਈ ਐ ਮਾਤੇ ਕੋਈ ਕੈਲੀ ਐ ਕੋਈ ਜਿੰਮ ਚ ਬੋਡੀ ਬਿਲਡ ਕਰੇ ਕੋਈ ਨਸ਼ਾ ਪੱਤਾ ਕਰ ਗਿਲਟ ਕਰੇ ਕਈ ਲੱਭਦੇ ਨਬਜ਼ਾਂ ਰੁਕੀਆਂ ਤੋਂ ਓਵਰ ਦੋਸ ਲਾਈਫ ਨੂੰ ਕੁਇਟ ਕਰੇ ਉਹ ਪੜ੍ਹੇ ਲਿਖੇ ਨੇ ਅਨਪੜ੍ਹੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਅਫਸਰ ਪੈਂਦੇ ਚੜ ਚੜੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਆਮ ਬੰਦੇ ਦੀ ਜੂਨ ਕੋਈ ਨਾ ਵੇਲੇ ਬੈਠੇ ਪੜ ਪੜੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਓ ਹੱਥ ਜੋੜੀ ਨਾ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਵੀਰ ਕੱਟ ਲੈ ਦੋਗਲਿਆਂ ਬੰਦਿਆਂ ਤੋਂ ਬਚ ਲੈ ਹੱਥ ਜੋੜੀ ਨਾ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਵੀਰ ਕੱਟ ਲੈ ਦੋਗਲਿਆਂ ਬੰਦਿਆਂ ਤੋਂ ਬਚ ਲੈ
Me, I ain't bragging. I took 5. You wanna die? Run up on that black 745. Ain't tellin' where you from. Yo, what's up? Payback, homie, I'm bringing CA back, and I don't do button-up shirts or drive Maybachs. All you old record labels trying to advance. Aftermath, just take it like a motherfucking man.
ਕੁੜੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਫੜ ਬੰਨਿਆਂ ਵੇ ਮੇਰਾ ਅਜੇ ਭਾਈ ਨਾ ਮੰਨਿਆ ਵੇ ਆਣ ਰੱਖ ਮਿੱਤਰਾ ਵੇ ਅਲੜੀ ਕੁੜੀ ਦਾ ਗੁੰਡੀ ਦਿਲ ਦੀ ਖੋਲ ਦੇ ਚਿੱਟੀਆਂ ਪਿੰਡਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੱਸ ਕੇ ਪਾਣਾ ਵਿੱਚ ਮਿਸ਼ਰੀ ਕੋਲ ਦੇ ਆ ਜਾ ਦੋਵੇਂ ਨੱਚੀਏ ਕਿਤੇ ਚਮਕਣਾ ਵੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਗੱਜਰੇ ਤੋੜ ਦੇ ਆ ਜਾ ਦੋਵੇਂ ਨੱਚੀਏ ਕਿਤੇ ਚਮਕਣਾ ਵੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਗੱਜਰੇ ਤੋੜ ਦੇ
people and millions of Americans actually. So eBhangra 1.0 is actually sponsored by Mike Pence's Fly. And although he was only with us for a few moments, we hope his thousands of children
Audio
carry on his
off,
legacy
man.
and don't get deported. Mhm.
Also, we like to remind everyone to vote, no matter where you're from, in your upcoming elections. Voting, the original super like of democracy. And if you know the premise of that joke, good luck to you out there.
So, Ram, the first round of eBhangra was an amazing show, and we're proud to say that the Bhangra circuit is alive and thriving. We have a couple announcements to make before we really get into the rest of the show. The eBhangra 2.0 apps are open, so the deadline to apply for eBhangra 2.0 is October 31st. The round one stream is going to be November 7th, and the round two and three streams for eBhangra 2.0 is December 5th. eFusion. So if you're someone who's like one of those people who does all the body rolls and all that, the hip hoppy and all that stuff, that eFusion 1.0, our applications are out currently right now. The deadline to apply for those is October 31st. So the round one stream for that, again, is going to be November 6th. It's the day before eBhangra 2.0. And the round two and three stream is November 28th. So one thing that's a little bit different about rounds two and three is that we actually broke out all the competing teams from round one into two different pools. Okay, we have a pool one and pool two. Before we get into that, we do want to plug one of our sponsors. Ram, go ahead.
Yep. So today we are sponsored. One of our main sponsors is Ramesh. Ramesh is the oldest Vardi maker on the circuit. I've actually, danced in multiple iterations of Ramesh's Vardi. He's been making Vardi for teams for over 15 years at this point. Currently, some of the teams that have recently brought from him are FCB, UNC, CMU, which won Best Vardi at Blowout, FYI. Cornell, Stanford, Fertile, DRP, UMD, countless others, many more acronyms in there. One of the most recent changes he has come up with is a new way to process and completely give you custom Vardi on the fly. And then you will also still have the guarantee that you'll not have to pay in full until you receive the products at hand. So there's a lot of emphasis on customer service along with quality. Before, teams used to pay for everything up front, but after working with different, colleges, we've remaked it. And we're figuring out a smarter way to make sure everyone, continues to build trust with the teams as well. To contact him, shoot him a message on WhatsApp at 404-630-8934. We'll also, plug that in the chat somewhere, or just email him at romeshvardi@gmail.com. I mean, if you're a competition, if you're a team, you probably already have that number saved somewhere, but just in case.
I mean, I know I do. I don't know how many packages I've gotten from India, and then every single time those Vardi packages come in, it's like all those little bags. Like every Kenta is in like a little bag, and then every Fullman is in a little bag. So I've had a lot of those little plastic bags. So maybe there's gonna be some sustainable packaging coming up too, Ron.
Yeah, all I know is that when I used to get my packages with the Vardi, Mom would yell, "Something smells really funny," and I'm like, "Oh, there's the Vardi from India."
That's the India package right there.
So getting into the competition format, so we're gonna have a diagram of round three, round two, and round three. There it is. Round two. So pool one is going to have seeds the 1, 3, 6, and 9 teams 1, 3, 6, 9. Pool two is going to have the seeds 2, 4, 5, 7, and 8. Pool one is going to be made of Fertile, RVD, Bhangra Theory, CIA. Pool two is going to be Husher, Brigade, Bruishte, Lavar Ball's favorite team BBB, and FCB. So one winner from each of the pools is going to advance to fight for first place in our winners bracket. And those teams that will get knocked out of round two will go to a consolidation bracket where all the teams will battle it out for third place. This brings up to a total of 18 performances tonight. So this is going to be packed. It's going to be twice as long and a little bit more so than round one. So if you tune in from round one, expect a pretty packed show for tonight.
And really the rules are very similar to round one, but there are a couple like nuances that are with these new rules. So we still have the 6-person maximum, 3-person minimum for every performance. All the videos are eye level, so we can keep everything relatively consistent. these videos are one segment, so they're about a minute to a minute and a half long, and then no dancing, no teams were allowed to use, there was no Vardy or props allowed, because we wanted to make sure that everyone had the resources available to compete at a similar level. So the rubric, again, like we said in round one, creativity is emphasized, but this time there's a little bit of a twist, if you want to say, a little bit of twist to this round. So round two specific rules. They're gonna have to incorporate Fumnia in their set somewhere. So there's 5 points that are dedicated to saying how interesting or how creatively and uniquely they could implement Fumnia. And then for round three, it's an ending type segment that can mix in either Lurdi or Chummer, one of those two. And again, 5 points are dedicated to how creatively and uniquely they incorporate this. So we kind of like we're talking about it, and this is like, I don't know if anyone's seen the show Chopped, but in the show Chopped, they'll like reveal a secret ingredient. It'll be something real funky. These aren't that funky. Not like asking you to incorporate like some weird dancing or anything, like break dancing or anything like that. But this is kind of like these like segments are like a secret ingredient. How are you going to incorporate them? And how can you incorporate them in the most creative manner and in the most impactful manner? So our rubric, which is on the screen right now, is very similar to round one. Again, creativity is an emphasis on this rubric. And then also there's Nakra energy that are also emphasized here, and then segment specific pieces as well. So just one correction that I want to make from earlier is that it's actually a 10 point, not a 5 point dedication to that integration of those secret ingredients. So it's important that everyone is being as creative as possible with Fumnia, with Jummer, Lurdi. We're going to see how we're really testing everybody to see how creative they can be within this rubric. Another small thing is if they don't, and this is going to spice it up, Rob, if they don't incorporate Fumnia in round two, they're automatically a 0 out of 50 and just get disqualified from the comp. For round three, if they don't incorporate Jumur or Lurdi at any point in their piece, they get automatic 0 out of 50 and they're pretty much taken out of the competition. So kind of spicing things up a little bit here. And our judges for this round are a little bit different from round one. We have 3 judges here. Ram, why don't you introduce them?
Yeah, so we have 3 judges. We have Nimit Desai, Sumithira, and Angela. Nimit has been choreographing and dancing and teaching Bhangra on the circuit for more than 6 years. He was the captain of the co-ed collegiate team Buckeye Bhangra from 2015 to 2017, as well as a choreographer of the independent team KPGD in 2017. He later went on to dance on the fusion circuit to help lead OSU Genesis to a national championship in 2018. Congratulations, Nimit. As a choreographer as well. He has competed at over 25 competitions in his career and has placed at 11. So he's got 7 first place. Nimith has since started judging competitions. He has previously judged Nutchley Cleveland and Buckeye Mela and is excited for the opportunity to be a part of the eBhangra panel. He hopes to bring an emphasis on intricate choreography and risk-taking, as well as a strong background in dancing fundamentals. Angela is a medical student from Charleston, South Carolina, who began dancing Bhangra in 2012. Since 2017, she has co-captained Dunia de Rung, the first remote and all-inclusive team. Together, the team and Angela developed a unique team identity marked by purpose-driven set design and formation mechanisms. Her previous team affiliations include DRP, KPGD, Jummer Squad, and the Vanderbilt Bhangra. Her previous judging experience includes championships of Bhangra, Bhangra Blowout, Kirath, Red Dot Bhangra, Legends Bollywood Championships, Nachalik KVK, AKD, ADZ. Man, I'm just going to acronyms at this point.
Yeah, just do acronyms. Do AKD, FCB, TTT, SSS. It's all good.
She wishes the eBhangra teams the best of luck. She also, however, challenges them to leave an extraordinary mark on the circuit. Think independently and be fearless. And our last judge, Sumit Hira, has been on the Bhangra circuit for over 15 years, of which he has spent as captain of Bhangra Knights. And he's over the span of 65 competitions, he's had the privilege to serve as a coach, dancer, captain, choreographer, and judge across various platforms. Man's done a lot. He prides himself in spreading Punjabi culture through the gift of dance, and the tremendous growth of Bhangra has only strengthened my belief that dance has no prejudice transcending a socially structured barrier found in gender, race, sexual orientation, and religion. Direct quote from the man. Wow. He looks to utilize his knowledge of Bhangra and provide the best experience possible to all dancers and peers. So, hey, Saab, with all of that said about judges, why don't you kick the show off?
Isn't this the moment that like everyone's been waiting for, right? Since whenever that last stream was about a month ago. So how it's gonna work, pool one of our two pool system is gonna go first with Fertile starting to show off today, RVD coming in second to show, Theory, and then Carolina India Arts closing out pool one. I know that we have a poll going out right now with our predictions or with the audience predictions for pool one. Ram right now, Fertile is sitting on top on there. Let's see if they can stay on top. In the poll, but I want everybody to go into that poll and vote. Make sure you make a Twitch account, follow the eBhangra Twitch account, subscribe there. Pool two, we're gonna start that off with Who Share. It's gonna be our first collegiate team performing of the night. Then we have Bhangra Brigade, the boys from Chandigarh. Then we have Brishte from California, BBB, BAM's Blazing Bhangra, and First Class Bhangra is gonna round out our show tonight. Now, that's going to be the round two show order. Again, put in your votes for who you're going to think is going to win round two for pool one right now. So that being said, are we ready to get the show started on the road?
I could actually wait for another 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'm down actually. I gotta get some wings here. I gotta finish.
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to finish my wings before the show, so they're getting cold. So we can wait a little bit, right?
No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. So we're gonna start off round two, pool one, with our first team, Fertile Shakeen. So our first team, Fertile Shakeen, is from Detroit, Michigan. Fertile was our first place team in round one. They're starting off our show tonight. You know, Saab, what are your thoughts? You excited for this performance? I know you're a former Fertile guy. So
yeah, I'm excited to see what they can bring. They brought a great show for round one. Let's see if they can bring the same energy for round two.
All right. Well, Saab with the most nonchalant, excited answer I've ever seen in my life. Let's start off with the video.
So Ram, show started off. How you feeling?
Feeling pretty pumped, man. If that's where we're gonna start, that's a really good start for the competition. I thought that was incredibly solid performance.
I love the location that they had there. That's a cool location. With like the purple background on the lake and all of that stuff. And they had some interesting variations on the fasla
Yeah.
on there.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of Niagara Falls, so it makes me think that they're really
Mhm.
playing up to that auntie and uncle crowd that's obviously
Yep,
watching.
I love going. Yep, we are. I remember those Niagara Falls trip. Pack out the rotia and the tiffin, and then you go up to Niagara Falls. That's great. So we're gonna be having the scores come up real quick. Okay, so our scores are up. Let's see what they're looking like. So Creativity, Fertile scored a 22.25. For cohesion, they have a 10.25. For Nukra and energy, it is a 22. For form, an 11.25. For sync, an 11.25. For the segment, that an 8.5, and for impact, that a 22, with a grand total of 107.75.
That's an incredibly high bar, man. That's
Mhm.
huge. It's a really great start. Correct me if I'm wrong. Fertile won last time with 111, right? It's we're already starting pretty
Actually, I
strong.
think they were even higher. So
Yeah.
they were even higher in the last round. So it's awesome. You know, there's always the jitters of going first in a show. There's not really any jitters here, but the next one is going. So the actually, oh, and one more thing. The scores are out of 150. Just to let everyone know. I know we didn't mention that earlier, but all
Yep.
the scores are out of 150. So yeah, it's a great way to start the show off. I think we're moving on to our next team now.
So the next team, Saab,
yeah.
why don't you give an introduction? It's the
For
other
sure.
team in Michigan.
Yep, the other team in Michigan. So Roque Verside. So our next team up is RVD, also from Detroit, Michigan. RVD is a collaboration of 3 teams from the state of Michigan: the Michigan Bhangra team, Onyx Cherniadi, and Roque Verside. So the next, we actually had a chance to sit down with Stuti from RVD, and she kind of talked about eBhangra, competitive Bhangra, what it's meant to her, and we wanted to have everyone listen to what she had to say.
Hi, my name is Stuti and I'm dancing with RVD for eBhangra. The question that I was asked was what Bhangra means to me as a person. To me, Bhangra is a way of preserving culture. Every move we do has a meaning behind it, and it takes time and patience to fully understand what each move means. It is kind of like learning a new language. Also, it has impacted my life in many positive ways. It has introduced me to the Bhangra community, which is filled with some of my closest friends. It has taught me a lot of morals, such as being hardworking and persevering, which I use on a daily basis. It has also taught me a lot about time management through all of the late night practices. Overall, I'm very grateful that Bhangra has made his way into my life and I was able to meet people who share the same passion as me.
Yeah, what up, Detroit?
That was awesome, Rom.
That was really good performance.
That was
I
a
mean,
huge. That was a big step up from round 1. I'm pretty sure.
yeah, I thought the performance, back to front, very small things to nitpick, right? I think
Yeah.
I ideally some of the movement, especially like when you're doing jumping and going super fast in a circle like that, just making sure things that are a little bit more on point and a little bit more crisp. But at this point, you're really only picking details, which I thought is a huge step up from round one.
I think the formations were an upgrade. The execution and cleanliness was an upgrade. And I don't know. Maybe I think they might be topping Fertile right now.
We shall see very, very soon. Here are the scores. We got RVD with an 18.5 for creativity, a 10.25 in cohesion, a 20.5 in Nutcracker and energy, a 10.5 in form, a 10.25 in sync, a 9.25 in segment, and a 19 in impact, bringing their total up to 98.25. My God, fractions, people. This is
this is 2.5. I don't think I've ever judged with the 2.5 before. I don't think I've done that before.
This is an epidemic of fractions right now. This is crazy.
Yeah. So it looks like again, these scores are out of 150. So just remember that that is the overall score for those. And yeah. Okay. So it looks like Fertile is staying on top for round 2, pool 1. But we have 2 more performances to go. Who knows what can happen?
Yeah, we're going to have the next team. So the next team is Bungra Theory out of Manhattan, New York, Saab. I'm really looking forward to this. I heard there's something special actually within their performance.
I heard there's some cool guy voices in there. Cool guys are in their mix.
And to be fair, going back to Angela's point from the judges earlier, I am looking for people to push the envelope when it comes to this new format. So hopefully this stands out. So, I'm excited for Bungra Theory. Let's see what they have to offer.
Yeah.
Theoretically, if you think about it, they should be the best team here. Theoretically.
I saw some great Nutcracker there, Ram. I definitely did. I did see some great Nutcracker in there.
It was really awesome. I thought I thought for this size it was good. I don't know if it's better than Fertile. I thought Fertile and RVD had a little bit better utilization of the space and movement. I think that's what happens when you're a dance team in Manhattan, man. Manhattan real estate.
It's a tight space, yeah.
It's going to be
really
very,
having
very
space
small.
to dance in, right?
What
I would step up. I think everyone has really stepped it up since round 1. So it's great to see that teams really bringing it. So it looks like our scores are up now and they are live. So Bungra Theory, creativity an 18.5, cohesion 10.75, Nutcracker energy 21.75, and with form they have a 10.25, sync a 10.75. The segment they scored a 10, and impact an 18.5. So it looks like the key differentiator here right now, big one, is the creativity portion of the rubric and the impact.
Yeah, and I think
that's where Fertile's really running away with it.
And I do feel that, especially with this last performance over RVD, I thought that Theory did a really great job of focusing on this segment and making sure that their dancing, even though it's in such a small space, really, really stood out and was really memorable to watch, right? I think that's a big takeaway. You could clearly see the Flammoney, and I thought it was a very cool variation of it. So I think in the spirit of the dancing, it makes sense why they're slotted in second place right now.
Yeah, and the other thing was really they had I think they took a little bit of risk putting our voices in there. It's not the first time that we've ever seen it, right? But it was a little risky, on the risky side. I think Ram and I appreciate it. Getting a nice little shout out there. Um, our next team, Ram. Let's keep the show going. Let's finish off pool 2. This is our pool 1. This is our last performing team of pool 1, and we have Carolina, India Arts, Loc Notch. So CIA, the kids from North Carolina. This group is our youngest group performing tonight. Many of these dancers actually danced at a competition earlier this year. The competition's name was Dola Re Dandia. It's one of those Bhangra Ras type competitions.
Hmm.
And I remember my first competition experience, and it was very like eye-opening to see it. So we actually had a chance to sit down with Anya Abhikumar of CIA to see what that experience was like and to hear from her what her first competition experience was like.
So DRD was my first competition, and that was in February, and I danced with Carolina Indian Arts, and it was honestly just so much fun. And it was really cool being a freshman in high school and getting to see all of the college teams compete. My most fond memories from that performance were definitely just getting to be with my team all weekend because we worked so hard in the months leading up to it. And obviously just being on stage because it's the best feeling ever, especially after practicing for so long. And getting to interact with everyone on stage is just the best feeling. It's so much fun doing that. And I'm sure any other dancer could attest to that, but it's just so true. And if I could go back and redo that performance, I think I would just try to appreciate every moment I have on stage because it was so much fun and I didn't realize how much I would miss it. And I didn't realize I wouldn't be able to do it for a while because of quarantine. So definitely just enjoying it as much as possible with my team is something that I would do if I could redo the performance.
I get those goosebumps every time. I need the hype. Throw that to the side. I get those goosebumps every time. Yeah, when you ride around, when you throw that to the side.
Again, another performance that stepped it up from round 1. That's what I think, Ram. I'm excited to see how these kids develop as dancers as time goes on.
Yeah.
They're all in their first year of dancing. If I could tell them one thing is stay consistent with it, stay passionate with it. Don't ever drop that consistency because as long as you have that, you're always going to be progressing. You're going to be moving towards that end goal of being the best dancer you possibly can be. So I'm really excited to see that. So Ron, what do you think about the performance?
I thought it was a great literal change of pace than the other teams. I think every
Very
other
true.
team has been going to see how fast they can like it's essentially condensing almost like 3 to 4 segments into
Yeah.
like a minute and 30 seconds and see how fast we can do it. And it just seemed a little bit more deliberate and try to emphasize the dancing. And I think as a dancer, it's really impressive to see, especially considering the pace that other teams have gone to try to see that mastery of dancing. So I really did appreciate that, and it's
Yeah, I mean, they kind of slowed it down. They slowed it down, which is a different approach, which is awesome to see. I'm again just looking forward to seeing the futures of these students at this academy, Carolina India Arts. But our scores are now live. For the creativity section, CIA scored a 14. For cohesion, they scored a 7. For Nakra and energy, they scored a 17. Form, we have an 8. Sync, 8.25. We got those those weird fractions going on. Segment, we got 7.25, and impact 14. So Ram, it's looking like the scores for pool 1 are now set.
and I'm just gonna go off on a limb because I can read and say that Fertile is in first place in
I
pool
think
1.
they're moving on to the championship round.
I think they are. I think they are indeed.
So kind of just recapping this real quick, looking at the scores, they're pretty much consistently, other than the segment piece, were consistently above the other teams in the
Yeah.
other categories. So we can't really make any predictions now. We got to really see, who's coming out of pool 2. I know we got some big names, Briste, Brigade, Big Baller Brand coming out of that round. So it's really all dependent on, it's all relative on who comes out of pool 2. And I'm excited to see. I'm excited to get pool 2 started now.
I think coming out of pool 1 and seeing the performances so far, I do think Fertile is hands down probably the favorite at this point to go take it. There can be surprises, surprises come in many shapes and sizes, but right now at this point, they have performed well in round 1 and placed first there. With a new set of judges and a new format, they again got first place. So yeah, I think going in, I'm excited to see what this next half has to bring, but it's going to be very, very tight. Very, very tight.
Yeah. So I think we're going to be starting off pool 2. So pool 2, the first team is Hushare Bhangra. So Ram, why don't you introduce Hushare?
Yeah, so we have Hushare Bhangra out of Indiana. They're the first collegiate team to compete tonight. One of the things that the podcast team has been working on is thinking about COVID impacts. And as part of this, we asked Palak Walia, the captain of Hushare, how COVID and some of the cases that have happened in Indiana has affected his team. Take a listen.
Hi everyone, my name is Palak Walia. I am currently one of the captains of Hushare Bhangra at Indiana University. And the first question that I got is, how is COVID impacting you as a collegiate team? And I think as a collegiate team, the main area that we are getting impacted on is bonding. I think it's really important to have overall team chemistry and companionship as dancers because it's definitely noticeable on stage. It's very easy to differentiate a team that has chemistry and from one that doesn't. And without having a lot of in-person practices and just fun game nights, we aren't able to bond very well as a team. And I think another factor that goes into it is obviously just skill. I'm sure everyone has noticed that Zoom practices aren't exactly feasible or efficient. So standardizing steps and just building our skill is another component that definitely has been affecting our team. The other question was, what is the impact of pulling something like this off? And I think being able to participate in one of the first virtual Bhangra competitions definitely proves that a team can not only be adaptable to varying situations, but also that the passion of the dancers on the team clearly carry more weight than just going to practices and going to just like bonding activities. It proves that you can definitely get through the worst situations because of your passion for Bhangra. And the other question was, what are you hoping to get out of eBhangra? And I think through eBhangra, Hushare is mainly just trying to stay connected to the circuit through COVID and learn in the moment of what we can improve on, which is one of the things. We get our scores back right away and we're able to see teams without pausing to go get ready backstage and anything like that. So we're able to kind of see what we can improve on in the moment. And definitely just gaining exposure and getting our team name out there definitely plays a big role in it. And obviously competing against some of the best Bhangra teams in the circuit, obviously Hushare learns how to broaden their creativity and their skill at the same time. Thank you.
Wow, what a performance!
That's a cool location.
It is cool. It's
It's a
really
Big Ten
funny.
team. I like that.
It's really
Big Ten
funny.
representing the Big Ten.
It's really funny that we talk so much about what can you do, and a lot of people keep focusing on the dance, but not so much the fact that the medium has shifted. And now that we're recording videos, you could literally record videos anywhere, and you could do so many more things. And I think Hushare is so memorable for actually dancing in front of the stadium. Like talk about selling yourself as a team. There's no bigger way to sell yourself as a team than have your team name be etched on a giant football stadium behind you.
Yeah, and honestly, just thinking about what they're doing, what eBhangra is doing as a competition, right? Paul kind of talked about it with the challenges that they're facing. Zoom practices aren't the same. I think they're lucky to be able to practicing together in the Midwest. We know that like the University of Michigan, for example, had a stay-at-home order where you literally couldn't leave your dorm room or something like that.
Right.
So it is. I mean, another thing is Ron, just kind of like showing this in there. We just did a podcast on competing with COVID, talking about what this all means for the Bhangra circuit, kind of what it's going to impact, how it's going to impact it beyond just like, for example, eBhangra or just this year, and how people are adapting. To hear more stories like Balik, definitely check out that podcast. Ram did an amazing job.
For sure. Thanks,
On
man.
putting that all together. Yeah, no problem. I got you. Don't worry.
Virtual fist bump.
Awesome. There we go. Boom. Okay, so our scores are out for Hushare Bhangra. Again, definitely an improvement from round one in my mind. So creativity, 15.5, cohesion, an 8.5, Nukran energy, an 18, form, a 9.75, sync, 10.25, the segment, a 9.5, and the impact of 18, bringing them to a grand total of 89.5. So again, since they're in a different pool, those last round, the scores from pool one don't really matter here. It's all kind of a new game. Again, I think that impact category, everyone's kind of struggling with. I think we saw the last three teams kind of hitting that 18 point mark, not really breaking the boundary of the 20. I think that's one area that everyone can really improve on.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see, how teams continue to iterate on this. I mean, this is not a new concept at this point. We've seen it happen. So, really want to see how different teams are going to, up that up in the next couple performances. So, hey, Sal, why don't you introduce the next team?
Yep, next team. Okay, so our next team coming up is Bhangra Brigade. I think this was a fan favorite from the last round. So Bhangra Brigade out of Chandigarh, Punjab. They stole the hearts of the audience in round one. So we know that India is a home of folk Bhangra. We all go and watch like Khalsa College, Shiv, Jandal, these live teams. We'll go watch Bhangra, these live performances. We take a lot from there. That's the root of Bhangra, the dance itself. But what we saw is that as a team in Punjab, they could still bring it in the music category. They were able to translate a lot of those folk Bhangra elements, the maturity of their dancing into the music category. What we wanted to really hear more about is like, what is the influence of the North American Bhangra circuit and UK and Aussie music circuits had on them. And we actually had a chance to sit with Harmanpreet Singh Sani of Bhangra Brigade on how music Bhangra in North America, the UK, and the Australia circuits has influenced them.
Let's take a listen.
About eBhangra so far. Actually, our team Bhangra Brigade has been putting a lot of efforts to be a part of an international competition, and we literally thought 2020 was the year, but due to COVID, our plans and all our efforts shattered. Then eBhangra came up, which made it happen for us. So far, it's literally an amazing experience to be a part of a competition which has teams like the ones we are competing against. It's not like those Instagram video competitions. It's literally something like the competitions which used to be held pre-COVID. And kudos to the team. Congratulations for coming up with such an idea. Let's keep the roots of our culture alive. Thank you.
Yeah.
ਹਾਂ ਤੇਰਾ ਮੇਰਾ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਜੇ ਮੇਲ ਗੋਰੀਏ ਸੱਬੇ ਜੋੜੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਰ ਦਾਂਗੇ ਫੇਲ ਗੋਰੀਏ ਇੱਕੋ ਹੀ ਪਰਾਤ ਵਿੱਚ ਸੁੱਟ ਮੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਖੇਡੜੀਆਂ ਤੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਖੇਲ ਗੋਰੀਏ ਤੇਰੇ ਅੱਗੇ ਇੱਕੋ ਆਡੇ ਮਾਰਦੇ ਕੁੜੀਏ ਤੇਰੇ ਅੱਗੇ ਇੱਕੋ ਆਡੇ ਮਾਰਦੇ ਕੁੜੀਏ ਚੱਲ ਸਾਡੇ ਵੇੜਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਢੱਡ ਬਣ ਜਾ ਉਹ ਮਾਪੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੂੰ ਲੈਣੀ ਚੰਨ ਵਰਗੀ ਚੱਲ ਮੇਰੇ ਮਾਪਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਚੰਨ ਬਣ ਜਾ ਮਾਪੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੂੰ ਲੈਣੀ ਚੰਨ ਵਰਗੀ ਚੱਲ ਮੇਰੇ ਮਾਪਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਚੰਨ ਬਣ ਜਾ ਮਾਪੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੂੰ ਲੈਣੀ ਚੰਨ ਵਰਗੀ ਚੱਲ ਮੇਰੇ ਮਾਪਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਚੰਨ ਬਣ ਜਾ
ਕਿੰਨੀ ਵਾਰੀ ਵੇਖਿਆ ਮੈਂ ਕੁੜੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਤੁਰੀ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਨੇ ਨੀ ਬਾਲਾ ਸੋਚਦਾ ਹੋਊਗਾ ਮੇਰੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਉਹ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਵੇਖ ਵੇਖ ਕੇ ਜਾਂ ਮੇਰਾ ਐਵੇਂ ਵਹਿਮ ਲੱਗ ਜਾਏ ਭਾਵੇਂ ਮੰਗ ਲਵੇ ਜਾਨ ਮੁੱਟਿਆ ਤੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਕੱਢਿਓ ਸੱਟਾਂ ਧਰਦਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਜਿਹਾ ਗੱਭਰੂ ਜੇ ਦਿਲ ਮੰਗ ਲੈ ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਹਾਂ ਕਰਦਾ ਉਹਨੇ ਕੁੜਮਾਈਆਂ ਭਾਵੇਂ ਲੰਡਣੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਨਾ ਕਰਦਾ ਸੋਹਣਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਗੱਭਰੂ ਜੇ ਦਿਲ ਮੰਗ ਲੈ ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਹਾਂ ਕਰਦਾ
I just knew it was going to be nasty when it came out and you could just see the shoulders moving.
Yeah, that was an awesome performance, honestly. I mean, they came out, they ripped it. I think it was the best performance of the night so far, no doubt. Definitely the cleanest team, no question about that. They had great variations on Fulminia. They had interesting ending pieces there, and I think the scores definitely show that. So coming in for creativity, they have a 22. And for cohesion, they have a 12.75. Nukra energy, 24.5. Form, 13.5. Sync, 12.5. Segment, 11.25. And impact, 24. They blew away the competition this round.
Yeah. I mean, and it goes to show, I think a lot of teams, especially in the North American circuit, like to follow very similar formulas, right? It's been very, very fast, I think, for the most part, with all these performances. I think it goes to show you that when you have some diversity in some of the pace and kind of how you stress specific pieces and elements of choreography, as well as kind of how you structure the performance and do it really, really well, there's a huge payoff. I think subjectively speaking, there was already going to be a huge impact based on our first round what we saw in the first round with how different they were. And I think they've just taken both that style of performing as well as their execution level and taken it up another step. And it's such a memorable performance for me.
And the thing is, they didn't do anything. They did some amazing variations, but they didn't really go away from Bhangra roots. I think what that reminds me kind of is like SGPD back in the day. I mean, they did stray at times, but they variated the moves while still staying within Bhangra itself. They didn't really need to take up too much stuff from like hip hop or anything like that. They kept it rooted in Bhangra.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see whether they're in the consolidation bracket for round 3 or in the winners bracket for round 3. It doesn't matter to me. I'm just excited to see what they can bring for the next round.
Yeah. I mean, with these scores, I'm excited to see how they compete against Fertile. I do think though there will be a level of normalization when it's in a one-on-one format. I think at that point it's hard to take everybody else into consideration and then talk about it. So I am really curious, but yeah, that was an incredible display of execution and dancing talent.
And I think all teams from North America can take one last thing. This is the last thing we're gonna say about them. Take away their maturity of dancing. That's the most critical element that I would want every North American team to take. They didn't ever look, and they look like they're having fun. They look like they were not just dancing to some captain going out and counting in the background. They look like they're actually enjoying themselves to the music. But while enjoying themselves, they're like, realize that they're performers putting on a show at the same time, and their expressions you could tell that from their face. So definitely a critical thing to think about. But enough about Brigade. We got another team coming up that killed it in round 2, in round 1. We have Bruishte. Ram, why don't you introduce Bruishte?
Yeah, so Bruishte is out of Los Angeles, California, and they're a combination of Bru and Bhangra and Farishte. we're going to hear actually a little bit from Sartaj Singh, the captain of Bruish Day, on some of the flexibility and adaptability that's really gone into making this collaboration happen. So let's hear from Sartaj.
I joined Bhangra and First Day together because I couldn't get enough dancers together for First Day. Some people were available, but the schedules didn't work out and people dropped, and we ended up not having enough dancers for a team. Luckily, the Bhangra captains live close by, and they only had 3 people, so we asked to combine the teams, and they were down. So here we are. There's a few logistical challenges. Everybody has a different schedule. You know, some people work, some still have school, and it's tough to find places to dance since everything is still closed down. But everybody lives fairly close by, so it's not too bad.
Saab, thoughts?
Yeah. Initial thoughts. Love the songs. That was my initial thoughts. Love the music. I thought that they had some interesting touches. I think Sertaj in the front, who's doing some funny stuff in the middle there. I don't know how to really describe it. If I liked it, didn't like it. It was a different sense of maturity in dancing between the two teams. I would say
Yeah.
that between Bruce and Brigade. I mean, you're coming up, Bruce. I mean, they're coming up against a really talented Brigade team that just obviously blew the water out with this last performance. But they did do some nice variations. They kind of changed the game up a little bit. It ended with something fast towards the end. They had I think they could have pushed it a little bit more in the creativity category. But yeah, Ron, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, well, let's really quickly jump into the scores
Yeah,
before
for sure.
recapping. So for Bruce Day, we had been 19.5 on creativity, a 10 on cohesion, a 20.5 on Nutground energy, a 10.75 on form, a 10 on sync, an 8 on the segment, and a 20 on impact to give them a score of 98.75. I will say, I thought the variations in the middle, especially with the Jugani and then the V formation going in and out, and that I thought that was very on brand, especially with the music, and I thought that was a very differentiating factor. I was a little disappointed to see, not enough of that. I feel like that was like a hallmark, and I think when
I
you
think
think
and Ram, to even kind of enhance that moment, I think you'd need to be more crisp, to be honest with you. I think there
Yeah.
was times that, you have this sick formation, but someone's a little bit offline. I think sometimes we become complacent as dancers. Sometimes we think that stuff should just fly and be okay. No one's going to notice it. But to a trained eye, I mean, you and I, we pick that up like right away. If someone is a little bit off, someone's a little bit here, someone moves at a different pacing. So
Right.
it's really important for teams to pay attention to that. I think actually that's one thing that Brigade has another thing that Brigade has an advantage over everybody else on is that category. They don't let those little pieces kind of like hinder any other part of those performances. They make sure that their basics are there. They mark that the checkbox out. Then they make sure that they have the creativity pieces as well. So very important thing. And we're gonna be moving on to our next team now. This is our team with this team has the favorite name, throughout the whole competition. We got BBB.
Yeah.
Let's introduce them.
Yeah, Bams, Blaze, and Bunga. It's honestly, it could be a hot sauce at this point. I feel like I have a hot sauce like this in my fridge. They're the next team out of Birmingham, Alabama. BBB takes their inspiration from Forrest Gump and just keeps dancing. I think of all that's fantastic. Honestly, I haven't seen a team that's been inspired by an Academy Award-winning movie, so that's great. Their last performance was filled with energy, and they actually dance in their socks on concrete. So let's see if their socks survive this round. I don't. Hopefully they take a step up in that regard.
I don't know, Ram, for you, if the video just ended when you didn't expect it to.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, that was weird. But okay, we still had some people dancing in socks.
It was really funny. I think all the guys danced in socks and all the women danced in shoes.
I don't know. Is this like a fashion statement or something?
I think they heard you pretty loud and clear from the first round making fun of them. So
I thought they were wearing Yeezys for a second. Like they're just like wearing some like natural way, like whatever those were.
I think if you're
Yeezys
gonna
that dropped today.
I think if you're gonna go big, you might as well go big. Go
Yeah,
big or
right.
go home.
But that would be off brand for them because they're not wearing, the whatever the BBB brand shoes are that they should be wearing. LeVar Ball would be pretty upset.
Yeah.
I actually was actually pretty impressed with the improvement in cleanliness with this performance. It definitely was a step up from the last one. Yep.
I mean, I thought for sure, this was a night and day difference when you talk about like the evolution, especially
literally and figuratively, because the last video was at night. Yeah.
Puns, man, puns. You get a dime a dozen. So yeah, I thought it was great, and I think the scores reflect that. I mean, the second place team right now, they got an 18.75 in creativity, a 10 in cohesion, a 19.75 in knock-around energy, a 10.5 in form, a 10 in sync, a 9.5 in segment, and a 19.5 in impact to get a total score of 98. Man, I'm actually looking forward to the team that scores only fractions. I'm thinking. I hope FCB can pull that off. I would really be.
I think FCB could do it, but it's impressive to see. I think BBB is now on top of Rich in the second place, like you mentioned, which is awesome. It's great to see. Great for I don't know Bhangra, to see like Bhangra coming from Alabama and being successful. So next up, Ram.
Yeah, closing out
round two.
Is we have that one and only, and I didn't say this, Fudu class Bhangra. Wow, it is really funny as a person who danced at FCB for so long, seeing FCB submit that. Honestly, it's true to form.
Yeah. So we all know FCB has a legacy success. Ram, you were part of that legacy of success during your tenure there. You're founder of FCB. Um, but what we did was we sat down with Jemmy, and we actually heard from her about what it means to dance under that team name, the pressure, and what she takes from that storied past. So let's hear from Jemmy on how she feels about all about dancing under the legacy of FCB.
So, dancing under the legacy of FCB has really meant dancing the shadows of some really great dancers. Like, they've set their names in the circuit and everyone knows them. And for me, the legacy is really set by those guys because, yeah, the set changes, circuit changes, and so those expectations change. But I think for FCB, it's always been the dancers. And so when I was growing up and still now, you're always hearing, oh, you're going to be the next dancer A from this generation of FCB. Or, oh, dude, you're going to be the next this dancer. And it's a lot of pressure because you're constantly trying to make your own identity behind some of these great identities that are already there in the circuit.
Yeah. First class. Push to start.
I thought that car was about to hit them. I swear. I thought the car was about to hit them. Dude, that's Rob. That's like an idea you would come up with, man. I swear.
Honestly, yes, that would be an idea that I would come up with. And I also think in this format, those are the kinds of ideas that really stand out.
Exactly.
I was blown away when that happened because that's the first time that we've actually had an idea from the outside, like the real world, quote unquote, make its way into the performance. I thought that really set.
I think it was actually like the first time we've seen any type of like production in any of these performances yet. Again, you're not allowed to do like any video editing afterwards. Like I know a lot of people like do these outlines when they're dancing, when they edit their videos afterwards. You're not allowed to do that for eBhangra, but you're allowed to do stuff in the video. Like you're allowed to have a car drive by and almost run you over. That's okay. We also do preach like be safe while you're doing all of that stuff.
Yeah.
I think that one thing they could have integrated a little bit better or put it like a theme behind it. So okay, you have this car show up and drive by, like okay, like what more? It felt kind of a little bit random, but I think I like the initiative, but like fit that idea more as like a theme throughout the performance, so it's more reoccurring. And it's not just something that just randomly happens and you're like, okay.
I really felt that needed to be the drop, right? Like if people are watching this and trying to think about, future, like, eBhangra 25 or eBhangra 26, whatever eBhangra we get to, if people are trying to think about specifically ways to do something like that, I wouldn't just have it be in the middle of a song or middle of a segment. I would either make it, like to your point, Saab, like the drop, or I would make it like a reoccurring part of your performance. And I think, and to be honest, I do think that's got to be something to think about when you're differentiating and you're doing this outdoors. People have started doing it with like the scenery. You know, we saw in, I think week 1, RVD had like the mystical Rubik's Cube that was rotating all the time.
Like, do something more with it, right?
Yeah.
You have something in your set, do something more with it. And it's something that's like, when I judge Bhangra competitions, I always preach that stuff. Like, if you're gonna do something special like that, you know, take it to another level. We did see the scores were up. So so FCB, I believe, is now at a 109 out of 150. So they actually took second place. Scores are now back up for everybody, or about to come back up. So now FCB is at a 109. They scored 23 in the creativity, which they, I guess, blew everybody else out of the water for the or not blew everybody else, but scored the highest in creativity out of this pool. For cohesion, they have a 9.75. For Nuclear Energy, your favorites, the a decimal 22.75. So again, another great category for them. Form 11.75. Sync 10.75, segment 9.5, and impact a 19.5.
Dude, Saab, they were this close. They were this close to getting all fractions, man. If they just
One,
had
they missing one.
Literally, if they just got like a 0.25 more on the creativity side, we'd be talking about the fraction only squad. So
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So
fraction
it
class
kind of,
Bhangra.
I think one thing that's really apparent out of these scores, and I kind of want to talk about really quick, is where Brigade is really beating everybody. I mean, obviously the scores are up, but I think it's that cohesion section right there. I mean, if you look at between the second place team of a category and then the first place team, there's a 3-point differential between in cohesion. If you look at the impact, Brigade again beat everybody in the impact. It's something that that we're hoping that all the teams can bring a little bit more for round 3.
Yeah.
But you can really take a look at scores and see as a team if, like, okay, if I need to improve and I need to place higher competitions, I want to get my team as a better Bhangra team. What am I going to do? What categories do I need to really work on and actually like aim to improve on? Use these scores.
Yeah, I mean, and I would honestly say that a lot of folks like to think about these categories in a vacuum, where they're saying like, what can we do to think of, like, what can we do to be more creative, and what can we do to be more impactful, right? And I would say that the number one thing is, don't just do it in a vacuum, but also think about the teams that are coming. Think about what people are going to value, right? Like Brigade is doing something that they have been doing from kind of day one. Like, this is their MO.
Yeah.
But when you have 6 or 7 teams that are doing very similar things, it becomes very easy for something like that to stand out. So I think teams need to take notice. Like, more and more, I think something like this will have more international teams that might have different flavors, different styles that might be more relative or relatable to where they come from, like Australia or the UK. North American teams, and just I think Bulgarian teams in general, now that this platform is global, think about, with all the teams that come in, how do you differentiate yourself from the creativity and the impact section? And then on top of that, Bhangra Brigade, we wouldn't even be having this conversation if it wasn't so rooted in very, very good foundational dancing, like bouncing the shoulders, picking up the legs, executing the moves 100%. Like that allows you to do so many things. And I think we're learning, with the smaller formats, that I think that matters so much more.
Exactly. I mean, whatever it takes to differentiate yourself. It could be driving a car through your performance. I mean, that's one idea. So that's gonna close out round 2 for us now. So it looks like our championship bracket for round 2 is going to be Ferdile versus Bhangra Brigade. What we're going to be doing is we're actually going to be starting round 3 with a consolidation bracket. So this is going to be after the 15-minute intermission between the 2 rounds. We're going to start with the consolidation bracket. And kind of the way how it worked was there was like a random draw of the order of the consolidation bracket. So for example, the team in pool 2 that placed 5th is going to go first. Then after that, it's the team in pool 1 that placed 2nd. So that ordering has been set already. So when we come back from intermission, we're going to have those lineups. You might be able to just figure it out on your own at home. And then after those happen, what's going to happen is we're going to have the round 3 at the round 3 winners bracket go. And where it's going to happen is we essentially have a coin flip situation going on where Ram is going to flip a coin, and Brigade, before the show even started, we had all the teams pick heads or tails. I don't know what they picked, but Ram's going to flip a coin. Brigade's going to get it's going to go heads or tails, whatever Brigade picked. If it's heads, or if it matches whatever they picked, then they're going to go the last in the show. But if it doesn't, they're going to go first, since Brigade placed had the highest score between both pools. So we're going to have a quick 15-minute intermission, and then we're going to be coming back for round 3.
See you guys in a little bit.
Yeah. See y'all. Peace.
Say what? I told you motherfuckers that I just can't stop. Yup. I jumped out the car and let the beat bang. It still ain't nothing but a G thing. With that heat, man, I stand tall. Homie got a pocket, get your man.
ਫੁੱਲਾਂ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਸਵਾ ਲੱਖ ਦੇ ਤੇਰੀ ਡਰਦੇ ਨਾ ਅੱਖ ਮੂਰੋਂ ਚੱਕਦੇ ਜੋ ਨਾਲ ਯਾਰ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪੈਂਦੀ ਉਦੋਂ ਗੂੰਜ ਮਿੱਤਰੋ ਜਦੋਂ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਜੱਟ ਨੱਚਦੇ ਨੇ ਪਿੰਡਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਪੈਂਦੀ ਉਦੋਂ ਗੂੰਜ ਮਿੱਤਰੋ ਜਦੋਂ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਜੱਟ ਨੱਚਦੇ ਨੇ
Biggest boss and I've been a trillis. I'm a bigger problem when I click with Skrillex. Murder on my mind, it's time to pray to God. My revolver's not really.
Play this record as frequently as possible.
Into our main sponsor for tonight, Romesh is the oldest Vardy maker on the circuit. He's been making Vardys for teams for over 15 years at this point. It seems like every single person, every single team has been. Oh, start over. Can you hear me?
Can you guys hear us? Just say in the Twitch chat. Can you hear us?
Wait, Tree, you can hear me?
Okay,
all right,
everyone go refresh the app. Just listen to what Tree said. I don't know. Apparently we're muted this entire time. Okay, everyone's saying they can actually hear us now. Okay. We're back for round 3. eBhangra 1.0 round 3. Okay, let's
do
go.
this. Let's do this. So to start off round 3, we want to have a quick word from one of our major sponsors, Romesh. Romesh is the oldest Vardy maker on the circuit. He's been making Vardy for teams since before I was born, which is a very, very long time. Currently, some of the teams that have bought from him are FCB, UNC, CMU, Cornell, Stanford, Verdile, DRP, UMD, SSX, XXX, countless others. One of the most recent changes he's come up with is there's a new process by which we're making custom orders, and you're going to have to, there's no guarantee that you have to pay up front. There's going to be a 50-50 split. So we're working more on the customer service aspect. And we're working to fit in with the times that we're going through. So please contact Romesh on WhatsApp at 404-630-8934, or just email him at romeshvardy@gmail.com. If you're a Bhangra captain and you don't know this, God help you.
This is actually a good time to order Vardy, I've heard, because typically what happens is people will order their Vardia 2-3 weeks before a competition, a month before a competition, and then they're asking Romesh to express ship their Vardy. Then it ends up being $300-$400 more for just to get your Vardy, and on top of that, he's dealing with tons of orders. I remember I heard before, maybe championships or blowout or competitions of that regard, that March, April, May timeframe, he's just super busy. But now, since we're in quarantine, no one's really getting Vardia. It might be a good idea to order your Vardia now and get ahead of the game. So now getting into round 3. Round 3 is a little bit different. Remember, in round 2, Fuminio is part of the secret ingredient that everyone needs to have into their, not so secret ingredient that everyone needs to have in their set. That was a critical part of the rubric. We saw some great innovation. I think it could have been brought a little bit harder, the innovation there on the Fuminio side. So the way it's going to work for round 3, the videos are a little bit longer. They're a minute 30 time frame. We're going to start with the consolidation bracket, which is being showed on your screen right now, and then we're going to go to our winners bracket. Okay, just a couple other things. The thing they have to include in their set this time is Lurdi or Chumar, one or the other. So we're not going to be, and another thing that's going to be different is we're not going to be showing the scores until the end of the show, because that would just ruin the fun of it if you guys knew, and there'd be no fun of the placings. Typically, when we are at competitions, people are doing boolean and all that stuff. I'll promise you guys we won't be doing any boolean. You won't be hearing me sing. You might be hearing Ram though, but you definitely won't be hearing me. You might be ripping some boolean here.
Well, I mean, it's going to follow the same traditional comp format in that regard, where after you perform, you go to every single team and you ask everybody on that team, how did we do? Did we do well? Yeah, we're going to see a lot of
I remember asking you that stuff. Yeah, but the scores are not going to be shown up and towards the end. The one thing that we just want to make sure everyone knows is that we have another eBhangra coming up very shortly, within the next 2 weeks. So just make sure to apply to that as well. So we're going to start with our consolidation bracket. The first team that's going to go up in our consolidation bracket, I believe, is Ram. Can you go through that lineup of what the first team is going to be?
Sure. Where is
it's Hushar Bhangra. Sorry, I had to pull it up on my screen. So Hushar Bhangra is going to start us off. Then we're going to go to Theory. Then we're going to go to CIA, BBB, RVD, Briste, and then FCB is going to close out that consolidation bracket. Ram, what are your predictions?
I think it's going to be close. I do think it'll be FCB. In third place. I'm not just going to shill it because I founded the team, but if I see more inanimate objects being, lifted in by various vehicles, I'll be pretty thrilled. But I'm pretty excited, honestly, for RVD, and I think those are my teams. Those are the teams that I think have been the strongest. What about yourself?
I think CIA is going to come along, and I think what they're going to do is they're going to hack the scores. They're gonna break it. They're gonna break into the eBhangra infrastructure, change the scores, and get first place. No, I'm joking. For me, my actual serious prediction, I'm really looking at. I think RVD is gonna come away with this one. I
Yeah.
think that they did improvement from round one to round two, and I'm excited. I think these steps favor them, their style of Bhangra well, um, which may help them out. Um, but that's my prediction already. And it's not just because I'm from Detroit, Michigan. I promise you that. But I do think that the Lodi steps are gonna favor them on that side. For our consolidation bracket, what we're gonna do is we're gonna flip a coin. Um, whatever happens there is going to be we're gonna decide who goes first between Brigade and Fertile. Now this one is a heated competition. Okay, so Fertile kind of we took it away in round one. Then round two comes and Brigade comes back hard. Ron, what are your predictions for Fertile and Brigade?
Man, it is going to be close. I think the Jummer and what I'm really interested in is Jummer and Ludi seem perfect for what Brigade has done so far. That's kind of been their MO, like a much slower dancing style that's emphasized that kind of that kind of execution, that kind of form, kind of change of pace. I am really, really interested to see what Fertile is going to do. Fertile has been very, very much speed, creativity with that speed, very good execution, very precise. So it is going to be interesting for me. I think, Brigade has a huge innate advantage because this seems to be what they are doing for this competition. But I'm very keen to see what Fertile has. So I can't make a big prediction because I just don't know what Fertile is going to bring. But I'm feeling that this is catering to Brigade. What are your thoughts?
I mean, just kind of really like outlining it there. It's really funny to think about it. Both teams actually started their sets with Jummer in round two. Something just to think about. They both started their performances in round two with Jummer. So I'm really looking forward to see. I mean, Fertile has a different style of creativity,
Yep.
right? It's a different essence that's brought with their performances. So it's who can present their style better. That's what it's going to come down to. Whoever can,
Right.
can present their style better is going to really take this eBhangra 1.0 crown.
All right,
So
Sab, why don't you introduce the first team?
yeah, the first team we have up is Hushare Bhangra. So they're pretty dope with that whole background they had last time. Let's see what they're going to bring for round three and see if they can take away this third place trophy. So, I think one thing I want that team to really improve on and work on is their fundamentals in terms of balancing their step. Um, Making sure that they're completing their steps, making sure that that natural Bhangra form is there. Sometimes the steps feel a little bit forced. I did appreciate the way they started off with Wakanda. That was pretty cool. Shout out Chadwick Bosman. That was great. That was a nice touch. That was appreciated. But I think that, like we were kind of talking about this earlier in the show, they need to really, like, if you got to present yourself, if you want to present yourself properly, you got to make sure you're hitting all these fundamentals first. If you can't hit those fundamentals, it doesn't matter how many spins you can do or how creative you are or how many shout outs you do or gimmicks you do if you can't hit those fundamentals.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say, I think for me, it's pretty clear that a bar has been set. And, I think in a vacuum, if you were to watch this, you could take away a lot of really good things. I thought there's a lot of good stuff in there. But with the way the performances have gone, you could definitely see that there is a gap, right? And to your point, I think it's about how do you close the gap with some of these things? Because I think for a video, when you record it and when you start sharing around with your friends and people on the team, you might think that this is fine to submit, but ultimately we are competing, and it's just you can start seeing a little bit of those differences. I think throughout that performance, that tells you that there is some work to be done. But overall, I think it's been really impressive to see what they've done from round one all the way up until now.
Yeah. So again, we're not showing our scores because that would ruin the fun of the whole competition. Those scores are going to come up at the end. Now, what we're just going to go to is we're just go to the next team in our lineup. In our next team in lineup, Ron, why don't you introduce them?
The next team in the lineup is Bhangra Theory from Manhattan. I'm actually, really excited. I thought they, in the past couple rounds, have brought in a lot of nakra and energy. I know they're dancing at what looks like a Cube Smart storage compartment in New York, but real estate is real estate, So I'm really looking forward to see what they can do. I think there's a lot of opportunity here with this team to show off and enhance on the nakra. I think there's a really good style. So let's give it up. Let's see what they got. Sal, what are your thoughts?
So what I was actually hoping for that performance was more of a differentiating, but that one blended in so much with their last performance. Now we're not judging to those previous performances. That's just more generic feedback as an audience member. But what I would say to that team is in my general feedback is like make sure that every step that you're doing has purpose. It felt like sometimes there were just kind of like arms were just being thrown because I wanted to throw my arms in the set. And you want to make sure that every single move that you're doing has some type of purpose and intent. Again, it's all about the presentation. I think that theory, again, from round one, I mean, it's obviously an improvement from 30-second video that they did there, but they need to I think they need to focus on more the intent behind each step.
Right.
Not just passing Bhangra moves together because they're Bhangra moves. Right? What do they mean in their sequencing? How does that impact your creativity? I think they could have done a little bit more with the Jummer too, as well.
Yeah, I think they've gone with really short and sweet segments. I thought round two, what they did was like a crowd pleaser. I think anybody watching that performance would have walked away from that with a huge smile on their face.
Mhm.
And I think they had like a theme, or like more. I shouldn't call it a theme, but I think they had an overall kind of strategy in terms of how that segment was going to hit. And I think this did feel a little bit of a blend. And sometimes, when you think about blending specific moves, specific types of Bhangra dancing together, you can come up with something super creative and super well thought out. And sometimes it might fall a little bit flat. And I think absence of stage noise and the shortness of the routine, to me, it didn't hit as hard. I'd like to see what the judges' thoughts are, but to your point, I think there could have been a little bit more differentiation between the different parts of their routine.
Yeah, definitely. Kind of making sure that, again, what you're putting together, again, like you said, Ram, like people are trying. The good thing I can always appreciate is you're trying to put in that creativity into your set and
Right.
push for that. You're not just trying to do eight count sequences, over and over and over again. But you got to make sure that what you're presenting on stage, like when I'm done with this, when Eat is done, I go and put my pajama on, I go to sleep, eat my milk and cookies or whatever. What am I gonna remember from that performance? What do I remember? What am I gonna take away? Right. So next we have the CIA coming up. So we actually had another chance to sit with another CIA member, Ashish Gupta, to get his thoughts on Eat and ask him a couple questions.
Okay, yeah, totally. The teams we're competing against are some of the best teams around, and these are dancers that I look up to and kind of learn from. So yeah, it's pretty nerve-wracking to go up against them, but I'm also really excited for this opportunity and for being able to compete at eBhangra. These are some of my favorite teams, and being able to compete against them is just really an awesome experience. Overall, it's a mix of nerves and excitement, and I think that no matter how we do, it's going to be really fun dancing here at eBhangra, and I'm really looking forward to seeing everyone else's performances and, just watching everybody else and seeing how they do.
Yeah.
If Pyros and Crips all got along, they probably gun me down by the end of the song. Seem like the whole city go against me. Every time I'm in the street, I hear.
I'm a champion.
लाल सुहा रंग सीनी ढोल मेरे दा लाल सुहा रंग लाल सुहा रंग सीनी ढोल मेरे दा हुण हो गया बदल पट्टिया पट्टिया कवंडणे तू नी मेरा माही तू पट्टिया पट्टिया कवंडणे तू नी मेरा माही तू पट्टिया
Saab?
Yep.
Thoughts?
Thoughts? Okay. I like the ending. I thought we were gonna do our thing this time. You know, like the
Oh,
lean side to side. Yeah, like the
we should start from the back, like just like turn around.
Like that. Yeah.
I think from a song perspective, song choice, killer,
Yep.
right? I think people just everyone out there, if you're gonna record videos, be careful of the brightness and like where the camera itself is located. Felt that also took away, especially it amplified the dancing in the front and people in the back, and a lot of times you were kind of staggered with less people in the front, more people in the back, and that hurt them. But I think the future's bright.
I would say for them, if they're the ones who put together, whether it's the coaches, whoever put up their choreography, had the same feedback that I gave Theory, the same feedback that I gave Hushare. I think it's a combination of what the feedback that I had to Hushare and Theory is that you want to make sure that, again, the steps you're putting together make sense. That there's intent behind it, that all those pieces are there. What are you presenting to me? Like, what are you trying to show me? What do you want me to remember, right? If you want me to remember, like, it doesn't even have to be essentially the choreography. It could be a certain nutcracker piece. It could be a formation, right? It could be anything. But you got to make sure that you're doing that within the set. And it's also cool, actually, if you actually check the Twitch chat, I'm reading this, and I love the feedback that some veteran dancers are actually giving to these teams. You actually read, they're actually providing very constructive feedback to a lot of these teams. You can ignore the burger stuff. That I don't know where that's coming from. But yeah, shout out Chan, shout out Boops, shout out Manveer.
All right, so let's move on. Let's move on to our next team. Sab, who do we got next?
So I think we got BBB next. I think we could make it on the big baller brand joke, but I think I'm done. I don't have any more of those in my system, so we're just gonna get straight to it. Next up, BAM's Blazing Bhangra.
Man, that was really good.
Sock Gang is back again.
I mean, I think this is turning into a glorified tie dad. A tie dad and probably a Hanes sock ad, depending on what kind of socks you want to buy. But man, I thought the ground there was wet too. So like, rest in peace, those socks.
Dude, I hate wet socks.
Yeah.
I hate wet socks. Yeah, so they brought out, I do like the execution of Jummer. That was nice.
It was really good.
It was good execution of Jummer. again, we're kind of giving feedback here and there for these teams. There's points towards the ending where I was like, okay, like what, those times, those kind of moments sometimes happened a little bit here and there. Like, what are you expecting me to
Yeah.
take away? Sometimes they're a little bit off count moments. I noticed on stage left or sorry, stage right or screen left for everybody who's watching home, it would be screen left.
Right.
There's times where, the
Yeah,
dancers were going off count a little bit. So that's important. I mean, again, it's a fundamental. You got to make sure you got to hit that.
I would say when you go so fast, right? Like the number one thing is everyone knows you're going to get tired, right? But when everyone starts getting tired, you got to look at to see how the performance degrades. And if people are struggling to execute, can they still either execute the moves or is the team still executing together, right? And it just seemed like certain people weren't able to match that over time. Like I started seeing people not finish the moves as much as they used to before, but certain people were able to do it, certain people weren't. And I think that hurts in the end.
Like what you can do, a solution there is either everyone's got to be making sure they're hitting their counts at the right time, or another way to do it is just bump the mix down 1 or 2 BPMs.
Yeah.
Right, and that'll help you out there. Like it'll help you execute on all those moves. Again, if you can't execute the moves on count, how do you expect the choreo to have its impact, or choreo and formations expect to have its impact? So we're going to be moving on to our next team. Our next team is Roque Verside. They got third in the last round. They are our 5th team in round 3 to go up. We have an interview. Actually, we sat with Prince to talk about round 2. What do they want to improve on? What do they think what they can bring up for the next rounds in eBhangra?
Prince, captain of RBD. What am I looking forward to improving in round 2? So basically, round 1 was very stressful for everybody involved. We got everything done in less than 2 days, so it was just tough, man. It was difficult trying to put it together and get it out there, and I think that came across in the video. So I'm hoping this time around we have the time to implement, josh and energy and nakra and happiness above all else, because I really believe those things come across to people watching, whether it's the audience or the judges, and hopefully that helps with the impact overall. And honestly, I'm just looking forward to all the team's performances, and yeah, thanks.
told Detroit, I'ma fucking get it. Yeah, yeah.
Foot sleeping on the gas, no brake pads, no such thing as last.
We're back. Oh, we're back. Okay. Oof,
Oh, I'm sorry.
practice.
I was dancing along a little bit. Having fun. Having a little fun.
Man, I was all these performances, and I haven't had a chance to dance. This is it's scratching my itch, man.
I miss dancing a lot. Okay, I miss competing a lot too. Like right now, I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine what it's like for you. I mean, when was the last time you competed, Rum?
It was before I don't know, before Obama was president, so that's a long time ago.
You were during the Bush administration, not the junior Bush, the senior
The
Bush
senior Bush,
administration.
senior
The
Bush.
senior Bush. Yeah.
Yeah, Ronald Reagan actually came to Bunga in the Berg when I was dancing, so that
Oh
was
yeah.
that was nuts.
Yeah. So okay, we just had RVD perform. I think it was a little bit step down from the last round.
Yeah.
They could have. The execution could have been better there. I think
Execution could have.
a lot better. I think it could have been a lot better there. The whole team's to high standards here because we want to hold them to the best standards possibly to promote eBhangra. So make sure that that standard of execution needs to be there. The standard of choreography. You got to make sure if you're putting a video together that the dancers don't look like they don't know the moves that they're supposed to be doing next, right? Yep.
So who do we got next?
Next is Bruishte. So Bruishte is our second to last team for this we've been saying consolidation bracket. I think it's actually consolation bracket.
Yeah. Dude,
all bad.
Autocorrect on PowerPoint slides, man.
Yeah.
Kills you.
So we actually had a chance to sit down with Vineet to talk about like a lot of us probably in this chat right now or us commentating, we're from the East Coast, but we actually had a chance to sit down with Vineet, talk about what's it like in California, and also talk about beyond just that, what's like, is Bhangra that one thing that keeps you going? I know for me, it has been. And I want to also talk about like logistical challenges, getting the group together. We talk about the strategy, but also get Vineet's perspective on that. So here's Vineet.
Hi, my name is Vineet Hundal. I dance for Bruishte and we are a team originated in LA. I was asked to answer a few questions, so here it goes. My first question was, what's it like in California? Well, one way I can go on by answering this question is to give observations I've had in life, such as traveling out of state to go to a comp. And what I mean by this is experiencing drastic weather changes. Growing up in California, we didn't really experience strong weather changes throughout the year, but when I go out of state, it does make me realize I love living in California, because the moderate temperature changes are actually awesome. But that aside, I do feel like our Bhangra community in California is very interconnected, which gives countless opportunities to meet new faces all the time. My second question was, is Bhangra the one thing that keeps me going? I would definitely say Bhangra plays a huge role in my life when it comes to me relaxing and looking for something to do rather than always working and always taking exams and studying for school, etc. It's definitely a creative way to get a lot of cardio and have a good time with your friends. But during this pandemic, it's definitely been a little bit difficult considering we don't practice as much as we used to anymore. My last question was, so what's the story behind the Tupac shirts? The story behind these shirts is honestly pretty sweet and simple, nothing too interesting. To be honest, we all just went to Target looking for black long sleeves and we came across these shirts and we're like, yo, honestly, we should just use these shirts. And we're like, okay, there's no way we're not going to. But anyways, thank you so much for listening and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the show.
Rom. I like the moment when they're like, "That's pretty cool." The little clap, clap, and then they went. That's pretty cool. I like that
Yeah.
part.
Yeah, I thought it was a really solid performance. It was different in the sense that I don't think they leaned into as much of some of the more thematic elements that we saw before. I thought the mix again was still really, really good. You know, what was really weird for me is the end of the set was
Mhm.
weird for me. I wouldn't normally recommend teams to do jumps in a circle facing themselves and not looking at the audience, and then coming out of that circle to go to the back of the stage and then exit. Because I don't know about you, but the resolution, while obviously very good, probably natively on the camera itself, means that they're pretty far away at the end of the performance. It almost feels like disengaged. It doesn't end with the same kind of oomph that would come to expect from a regular performance.
Yeah, I think the performance was missing some oomph. Like it was more of a it was like it was smooth choreo, no doubt. But like again, I'm sitting here and I'm like, what am I taking away from that? You know, the things that I want to remember are positive about the performance. I do remember one or two things here and there. I like the music, actually like the mix that they used at the intro. It was interesting take on Jummer. He used Jummer to that beat, but I really do think that it could have had a lot more impactful choreography, and I think that they could differentiate this segment from the last segment from round two and round one as well. Again, we're not judging them against each other, but just something to think about to maybe change the pacing of the performances.
Yeah.
So our next team, Ram, I'm gonna let you introduce the next team
Hey, why are you gonna let me introduce the next team?
because I think you know them.
Oh, is that so? So the next team is the last team of the consolidation / consolation bracket. It is First Class Bhangra out of Pittsburgh. Take it away.
Loves to be.
Yeah.
So I'll let you start with this one.
What was that? What was at the end? I was like that. Do you remember like that video of like that went viral of like the people with the EL wire, like doing Bhangra, and they would like show up and they had like a kunda, they spin and all that stuff. That's pretty cool. I like that idea.
I mean,
They're like bringing risk to it. I like that idea.
I think it's. I think what's awesome about the performance. There's still stuff I think that could be fixed, right? I think there's some execution mistakes that happen. Weirdly, it worked in a way where it seemed like one person was messing up in a part of a formation where it didn't, where it seemed like it was kind of planned. But I could tell it was a mistake. But I think you're starting to see teams embrace the video format and realize that like you're not constrained by a stage and and I liked what they did with the lights. I like the fact that ended the performance because it's super, it's super nice. And then, all these teams have been performing. It seems like the last 4 or 5 teams have been performing in the dark. So it's nice to see a team, light up the night.
Light up the night. They lit up our night for sure. So Ram, you have to do the coin flip.
Well,
because we're going on to the winners bracket now.
We're going on to the winners bracket right now.
Going to the winners bracket. So Ram is going to flip a coin live for everybody. Okay. And I believe if I forgot what it was. I think Brigade picked heads, if I'm correct.
I think so.
I think so. Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure. So yeah, I mean, we're gonna flip the
So
coin.
I think they actually picked tails. Sorry, my bad. I just got corrected. They picked tails.
Yeah. So let me flip this coin real fast. So I have a coin. It's George Washington is heads.
So if it's heads, Fertile goes last. If it's tails, then Brigade, or sorry, if it's heads, if it lands on heads, Fertile goes second. If it lands on tails, I don't know why this is so confusing. This shouldn't be this confusing. If it lands on tails, then Brigade goes second.
No.
Second. Yeah. My bad.
All right,
Brigade
whatever.
goes
We're just gonna
second.
flip it. We're gonna flip
Let's just flip the coin. Let's just flip the coin.
All right, ready?
Just do this.
All right. It is heads. Brigade's
So-
going first. Fertile is
Brigade's
going
first.
second.
Okay. Brigade is going first. First reaction, everyone's like, "Yo, it's a coin cost." Is this a rigged? It wasn't rigged. Trust me. It wasn't rigged. So what we did was actually we actually had a chance. So in the first round we interviewed Brigade. So I'm giving them time to set up the interview right now because we didn't know what the lineup was going to be. So in the first round we interviewed Brigade. We interviewed Harmanpreet. I think I said he was initially going to talk about the North American influence on the circuit, but he talked more about the eBhangra experience. So now we're actually going to be sitting with Manjot, I believe. Manjot from Bhangra Brigade, and he's going to talk to us more about actually that influence. That question that we asked initially. So what the influence is of the North American circuit is on their music Bhangra that they're doing in India.
All right. Let's talk less and let's have Manjot take it away right now.
Hi, my name is Harman and I'm one of the founders of Bhangra Brigade. The question I was asked is how has the international music Bhangra changed your dance style and set design? As we have all lived in Punjab, we have seen all basic and cultural things. The same goes for Bhangra. We have never imagined living in such environment where music Bhangra will be appreciated. Although there have been some great learnings onto how the international Bhangra teams put up their sets with advancement and adversity, still we have connected to our roots, not let the modernized Bhangra take away those authentic Bhangra steps. Thank you.
So Ron, what did you think about Brigade on this one?
I'm really torn, man. I'm not entirely sure I appreciated that performance as much as I appreciate what they had in the past. I think subjectively, and where I think Fertile is going to go, I think they while it's a solid dancing performance, I think overall, Fertile at that speed and at that direction is probably better. And I'm curious as to why that decision was made with the choreography that they picked. I still think it was solid. But I am going to be really interested to see what Fertile brings, because it's surprising that Brigade took that step out of their comfort zone with this last one.
Yeah, I think definitely so I believe that the first, whatever, 20, 30 seconds when they're doing all the Ludi steps, they had me like locked in. I'm like watching, I love the creativity that they're applying to these steps, doing something different with them. They have a great intro. But where they lost me was when they did that speed up, it was great Bhangra, no doubt. Like they were clean. They were consistent dancers across the board. But I don't think it favored them, and it just didn't highlight anything for me at that moment. Like there was nothing for me to take away and be like, damn, I want to really root for this team. This is what I'm gonna plus one them on the rubric, right? But we're gonna be moving on to our last team of eBhangra 1.0.
Sab, you want to introduce this team, man?
Sure, I'll introduce these guys. So Fertile Shakeen out of Detroit, Michigan. Fertile means agile. Shakeen means the youth. So the agile youth of Detroit, Michigan. Let's see what they can bring.
Fertile actually means agile?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it means like agility, like you're fast, like really fast, like you're Sonic, like really fast, right?
That probably explains why you're a software developer, man.
Exactly, right? Okay, let's go. Give it up for Fertile. That's okay.
I think the waving was a really, really nice touch at the end. I don't know who that was.
Oh, I think that dancer's name is Brubnor.
Funny how you should know that, yeah.
Yeah. That was a cool performance. I think the most interesting thing that was raining during that performance. So I don't know how they did all that. I don't know how they danced in the rain.
Yeah, I'd say honestly, it may have been a little too much for me, but at the same time, I think in terms of what this competition wants, and also in terms of just overall, right? Like, I think the first thing you start off with is foundationally where they sound, and I thought that performance. I didn't see any mistakes, didn't see people out of line. I thought it was super impressive when people were standing behind people. I legitimately could not see the person behind that person. It was like they were hidden, right? And that goes to show that there's a level of precision. And some of that stuff, some of those variations were sexy. They were very, very well done.
Yeah, I think the mix really helped out. I don't know what that song was at the end. The poppy, 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 that mix. That was pretty hot. That was pretty hot. That mix out of there, and whoever put that mix together, that was awesome job by that person. And I really liked. I think even like from the first song, I was kind of like vibing with that mix. It didn't sound like a typical Fertilia mix, but yeah, it was it resonated. That performance did resonate with me. There were some points where I was like, your arms could be in the right spot. Your formations need to be a little bit more clean. Like when you're splitting center, you have to split center properly. And I would talk to the coach of that team and tell them that they need to make sure to do that, or the captain of that team, because those are basics that you got to make sure to hit, right? So what we're going to be moving on towards is we're going to be letting the judges kind of tally up the scores. We actually have a cool, we have 2 more awards. We have a best mix and a best dancer award. We thought it'd be cool to kind of give shout outs to those people who did excellent in their performances, and also to those mixers who spent the time to put these mixes together, because without them, the performances wouldn't be as great as they were. So we're going to be doing a couple announcements first. So again, just a reminder, eBhangra 2.0 apps are open. The deadline to apply is October 31st. And then the round 1 stream is going to be November 7th. You're going to see on your screen a whole timeline of everything. Make sure, we want more teams to apply. We know that there's not a circuit like out there, right there. Get the Ram Mahalingam stamp of approval, but you got to make sure that you're applying. We really I think this platform's been amazing, and it's keeping our competitive circuit going. Ram, why don't you talk about eFusion?
Yeah, eFusion's coming up next. I think it's around the corner. I mean, if you liked what you saw, eBhangra, eFusion's coming up next. You can see the title, different color scheme, so it's something different and brand new.
Yellow.
The application is going to be released October 10th. Round 1 video deadline is October 31st. Stream is November 6th. Round 2 and 3 is going to be November 22nd. Round 2 and 3 stream is going to be November 28th. And I don't know who the Fusion folks are, but I'm hearing we got some pretty cool MCs on the Fusion side. It's not going to be us, so it is going to be like a half step down or a quarter step, depending on the Bhangra judges are going to be there. But yeah, it's going to be a completely different environment, same platform, same format. So excited to see that kickstart as well.
Okay. I think next what we're going to be moving towards is actually the moment that everyone's been waiting for. I believe it's the awards for 3rd place. Or sorry, it's going to be an ad first. My bad.
No, that's actually what people are waiting for.
Oh, the ad. Yeah, they're all waiting for the ad.
Ads.
So let's plug this ad in here. I'll go ahead and read this ad up for us all here. So our next sponsor is Dash of Detail. So Dash of Detail is a new creative brand by Kuntal Shah, who's actually a judge in the previous round. And it's featuring home design, decor, DIY projects, technology, cocktails, events, and tons of more stuff. He currently offers this home design decor consultation services. I know that we're all stuck at home right now, so it's really, if you want to make your home as livable and as comfortable to live in, you can do both in person and remote. So be sure to support. He's asking one thing: be sure to follow Dash of Detail on Instagram and for some inspiration for yourself today. And then the next sponsor that we have is Meet My Jordy. So Meet My Jordy. Meet My Jordy is a personalized matrimonial introduction service for Indo-Americans. I think I'm Indo-American, right?
I think I am too.
You are? Yeah, I think we are. So no, I'm just a pure blood American. So the services I use farmers only, I'm joking. So the service is unique in that it caters to you specifically in your search for a significant other. We being Meet My Jordy, offer them utmost discretion to protect the privacy of all of our clients. Privacy is important, your data is important. And please find us at Meet My Jordy on Facebook or Meet My Jordy on Instagram at Meet My Jordy to get started today to find your true love. So, given our ads, I think what we're going to be doing that we're going to be pulling up the awards now. So for third place, we're not going to announce it. We're going to let the logo show up first. In third place, we have
Brewish Day.
Brewish Day. Yes, Brewish Day came in at third place. Congratulations, Brewish Day. Good work. Nice job. So we're just showing now. We're going to be showing on the screen the scores because we want transparency for everybody. So it looks like Brewish Day edged out FCB for that third place spot.
Yeah, it seemed like from a segment perspective, Brewish Day, really, I think the difference is in the segment score, right? It's 11.5 for Brewish Day to 7.5 for FCB. That really, if you were to think about everything else is pretty much equal. And that's the main difference.
That was a differentiator right there.
Yeah, and some interesting scores. I thought, BBB 101. Very impressive. I mean, whenever Bunga Blowout comes back, if it comes back, I think they're a team that could potentially sneak in there and do a lot of damage. So really excited by that performance. It shows that there's a lot of diversity in the college scene, and I'm looking forward to that when it eventually happens.
Okay. So Ram, I think it's now again, say this always, we're going to be moving on to second place, first place, and then we're going to be going on after we do second and first, we're going to go and do our best mix and best dancer. So drum roll, everybody, do it at home, do whatever, or first, so before we do that, let's do some bullion. We have to always do bullion. We do to build up the hype, right? No, I'm joking. I'm messing with you.
Stop. I don't know who I am, but I'm not that kind of person.
So, coming in at, I think we're going to be announcing the placings very soon.
It's there, dude. It's Bunga
It's there.
Brigade.
It's there.
Place,
so, congratulations to Fertile coming in first place and Brigade coming in at second place. Both put on amazing shows. Both did amazing jobs. They did, they really held this eBhangra platform up, and it was amazing to see both these teams compete. Put on some very memorable performances. But to close out our show, we actually have 2 more awards that we got to give out to give some shout outs to some dancers and mixers. So coming in our best mix award is going to be Fertile, and our best dancer is Manjot Banu from Bhangra Brigade. So good work, guys. Good work, everybody. Giving shout out, I think the mixer, the best mix was Devam, Juicy Dev. So great work, everybody. I think that's it, Ram.
That's pretty much it.
So okay, yeah.
I think, do we just end it now? I don't know.
No, not yet. We gotta say some. We gotta give some couple of announcements here for everybody. Make sure that we're creating community for Bhangra dancers on the eBhangra Discord. Go and join the eBhangra Discord. Okay.
That's one.
You're releasing, if you're on the eBhangra Discord, you get early access to everything, and you want to just make sure that you're on there. You're gonna get to know when apps are open first. You get to know what teams are competing first. That Discord is exclusive community for exclusive content. Make sure that you join the Discord. Follow eBhangra on Instagram. We actually had some interviews with some dancers that didn't necessarily get posted through this platform, through the Twitch stream. So you can follow the eBhangra Instagram to get updates on those dancers.
Yeah, I mean it's a brave new world out there. Thanks to everybody that tuned in. We really appreciate it. From the scores.
Yeah, I think people are asking for the scores.
You want to post it up? Here it is.
There are the scores. So scores are up. It was tight. About a 5-point differential between the two.
Is creativity out of 25? What is it out of 30?
Pretty sure creativity is out of 25, if I remember correctly.
I'm just saying.
Or maybe it's out of 30.
Maybe it is out of 30, because otherwise Fertile got bonus points. But that's, I would say that the score, I mean, it is right? Like Fertile, I thought was just super creative. I think at the end of the day, one-on-one format, I don't know if Fertila meant to do this. Maybe you could speak more to that stuff, but Dancing in the Rain, what a very cinematic touch from a performance standpoint, huh?
I don't think maybe it was on purpose. It was probably really cold. I can't imagine how cold it was there. I mean, you can actually see. I remember like when I was watching the video, you could actually see their like breath. That's how close it should have been. Yeah, or how cold it was.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
hey, thanks everybody for tuning in. Those were the scores for first and second. Appreciate it. eBhangra, this is the end of one chapter, but there'll be many more of these to come. Tune in for eFusion. For myself and for Saab. Hope you guys have a wonderful night. Thank you again.
Thank you, everybody.
ਯੋ ਯੋ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਦੋਸਤੋ ਬਹੁਤ ਟਾਈਮ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਮਿਲਿਆ ਨੂੰ ਪਰ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੀ ਆ ਕਰੋਨਾ ਕਰਕੇ ਮਾਹੌਲ ਠੀਕ ਨਹੀਂ ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਭੰਗੜਾ ਮਿਕਸ ਤੇ ਪੇਸ਼ ਕਰਨ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਫੁੱਲ ਇੰਜੋਇਮੈਂਟ ਕਰਿਓ ਕਰੋ ਬੋਲ ਰਿਹਾ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਆਪਣਾ ਯਾਰ ਮਿੱਤਰ ਗਰੰਜ ਸਿੰਘ
ਤੈਨੂੰ ਚੁਣਿਆ ਕੈਸ ਮਾਰ ਲੈ ਮਾੜੀ ਤਾਂ ਨੀ ਚੁਐਸ ਕੁੜੇ ਦਬ ਕੇ ਮਾਰਦੀ ਫਿਰੇ ਰੋਡ ਤੇ ਕਾਲੀ ਕੈਡੀ ਲੈਕ ਕੁੜੇ ਉਹ ਖੂਨ ਚ ਪੂਰੀ ਹੀਟਿੰਗ ਜੱਟ ਦੇ ਮਾਈਂਡ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਾ ਚੀਟਿੰਗ ਜੱਟ ਦੇ ਇੱਕ ਕੋਕਾ ਕੜਵਾ ਤੂੰ ਨੱਕ ਨੂੰ ਬਾਕੀ ਕੋਕੇ ਜੜ ਦੂੰਗਾ ਉਹ 1 by 1 ਤੂੰ 10 ਡਮਾਂਡਾ ਚੋਕਰ ਪੂਰੀਆਂ ਕਰ ਦੂੰਗਾ ਉਹ ਚੱਟੀਆਂ ਖੁੱਲ ਕੇ 10 ਡਮਾਂਡਾ ਚੋਕਰ ਪੂਰੀਆਂ ਕਰ ਦੂੰਗਾ
start her OnlyFans. Big D and that B stand for bands. If you wanna see some real ass, baby, here's your chance.
Elle a pas vu mais qui va ça. J'entends des bails à trop son mort. À ce qui paraît, je te